Hello everybody, welcome to a Backlogs channel video. I don't say it like that, so let me try again. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Backlog channel, and today we are talking about how I was wrong. I was wrong, so I will say it. Now if you know me, I was very adamant on Nintendo being on top. On top of what though? My whole life, I have been staring at the graph that says PS2 was the most sold console of all time. That's what I've always seen, and DS was so close, within 1 million copies. I'm pretty sure if they just sold 1 million more units, then they would have beaten the PS2 in sales, which is sad that they got so close, but they never finished it, but it's okay. Because the Switch 1 came along and sold so many units in the first year, I was like 100% sure that it would at least be in the top 5 consoles of all time. Then it shot up to 5, and I was like, yes, but there's so many more years left on this console. Then it shot up to 4, then it shot up to 3, and it has been stuck at around 150 million sold units since last year, and it just cannot push past that 150 million units that it has sold. And for reference, the PS2 has sold 160 million plus. On the website of Wikipedia, you can see they put a little signal or a little sign next to the 160 million saying 160 million or more. So that gives them the little squeezable room where if the Switch 1 or any console gets close to beating its #1 title of most sold console of all time, then they could just secretly find the extra 5 million copies of the PS2 that they sold, and they were like, hold the brakes, push the brakes, do whatever you want with the brakes, but we found another 5 million copies that we sold. Thank you very much, you did not beat us. Which is a little annoying, but it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things now, because I was very sure the Switch 1 was going to be the most sold console of all time. I really did. I had a lot of faith in it, and it is very much stagnated. It is still selling, but not enough. And I am here on this day, the 5th month of the 2025th year of this world, to say, without a doubt, the Switch 1 will not outsell the PS2, and it won't even outsell the DS in sales, which is sad. Nintendo was finally going to be on top. The only way I think this could possibly happen at this point, which I don't think will happen, Nintendo has to swallow their dick, swallow their pride, and just put the damn console on sale. Sell it for 150 instead of 300 when the Switch 2 comes out. Push that extra 10 million copies to the world. Have people slowly buy them over the next 5-6 years as the Switch 2 exists. And hit that #1 spot on the graph. That's the thing though. They will never do this because Nintendo is stingy and they don't care enough to not make more money when they could make less money trying to get this #1 spot. They won't do that. They will push with the same amount of money because it's worth the same amount, as you could probably tell. I'm air quoting when I say that. I'm rambling. I'm rambling at this point, but I'm very upset. Nintendo could have just had that extra leg up. Yes, we as a company are the best at video games again. We, in fact, have outsold every part of the generation, but not just that. We've sold out every single generation ever created in video game history. They could have been #1. They could have been #1 and had that seniority, supporty, tority. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying right now. But they could have been there. They could have been the guys. And that's about it. Honestly, they could still do it, but they won't because Nintendo's Nintendo. But we were so close. We were so close. It really doesn't matter at the end of it. I mean, if you really think about it, the PS2 probably sold a lot more copies that they wouldn't have previously because they had a DVD player in it. Take the DVD player out of it, being the most affordable DVD player at the time, it wouldn't have sold 160 million. It probably would have sold very well still, maybe 120 million, maybe even 100 million. It wouldn't have sold 160 million copies. Again with the DS as well. The install base was so bad for the DS. It was one of those consoles that your grandpa, your grandma bought it, their first video game console. They played Brain Age, they threw it on the ground, and never touched that thing again. The Switch 1, on the other hand, still has at least 70 to 80% of their install base that bought the console still playing the games today. They still have an active account that shows that they've been playing games on their Switch 1. No console that has sold this much has that, ever. So at least the Switch 1 has that. I just wish they had one more thing to push them that little extra distance to get to the number 1 spot. And yeah, that's all I really had to talk about today. I just had to come on here and smack myself in the balls and realize I am not winning this debate. The Switch 1 will not become the most popular console of all time, at least in sales. It hurts to say that, but I have to say it. I gotta be realistic. And yeah. Thank you everybody so much for watching. See you in the next Backlogs video. Bye bye.